What is literature used for? Literature is used to expose the readers to issues and then teach them ways to address societal problems. In Americana, a novel written by Adichie states, "In America, you don't get to decide what race you are. It's decided for you." If Malou, a young African girl, comes to America for school, and when she gets here, she meets race. She is immediately identified as Black, and she begins to experience all different types of racism within America's culture. Literature exposes us as readers to racism, sexism, poverty, different biases, prejudices, and stereotypes, different cultures, religions, and things that we typically wouldn't be exposed to on an everyday basis, or things that we are exposed to, but we choose not to address them. In Americana, we go through the story with Ifmalu, and as readers, we are exposed to her experiences, and they allow us to address our own issues with racism or prejudices that we may face or have faced in our life. In Everyday Use, a short story by Alice Walker, the mother in this short story is giving a statement that says, "Dee is lighter than Maggie, with nicer hair and a fuller figure." Dee and Maggie are her two daughters, and even the mother here is comparing their skin complexions against each other. And in African American culture, in the past, and still sometimes today, we compare each other and our prejudice against each other for having lighter skin or better hair or different features that we feel like are make you a more superior type of our race. Walker exposes us to prejudices even within the same race. In the African American culture, people with lighter skin and better hair are treated differently than those with darker skin. The paper bag test. They say the days of the paper bag test are gone. Let's move forward. The statement was written by Adichie. If Malou makes this statement in her post within this novel, if Malou does different posts and blogs about her experiences with racism and different stereotypes. And the brown paper bag test is an old school test that African American culture used against each other. If you were closer to the skin, if your skin was closer to the color of the bag, you got in. It was supposed that you were supposed to be closer to white. Then you would get accepted to different fraternities or sororities, different clubs and groups. And if you were of darker skin, you were frowned upon. Zora Neale Hurston was the first well-known writer to air this strange practice in public through her novels. The appropriate size of my favorite tumor. I'll just tell everyone how respectful you were of our native traditions and how much you understood about social conditions that lead to criminal acts of so many Indians. Sherman Alexie. Alexie wrote a lot of short stories about Native American treatment and different traditions. And in this particular story, Jimmy is diagnosed with cancer, and he uses his humor to get through hard times. And he gives an example of one of those hard times being pulled over by a cop, and the cop wanting Jimmy to pay his way out of the ticket and harassing him. And instead of Jimmy flat out saying, hey, this is harassment, and kind of behaving in a way that would get him in more trouble, he uses humor and sarcasm to show the cop that he knows exactly what he's doing. And, Alexie uses this story and Jimmy to allow the readers to be exposed to some of the discrimination that Native Americans face. And at this point, we can relate as readers, and we are definitely able to address it in our own opinion of how we feel like it should have been handled or how we would handle it in our own lives. Literature teaches. After we're exposed to societal issues, we then are taught ways to address them through the morals of stories. Stories can reach places in us that would never surface without literature penetrating the barriers. Literature teaches us how to live. I have a picture here of the little engine that could here at the bottom, and as a child, I was read this story, and it taught me through its morals that I could do anything as long as I kept trying and kept pushing. And so I feel that literature definitely, not only does it expose us to different morals and different ways to live our lives, but it teaches us the ways we can address those issues that we face even as we're adults. Literature exposes stereotypes. In Americana, F. Malou was exposed to many stereotypes when she came to America. Dear non-American Black, when you make the choice to come to America, you become Black. Stop arguing. Stop saying I'm Jamaican or I'm Ghanaian. America doesn't care. This is a quote by Adichie. This particular statement was again made in one of Ifma's blogs. And basically, as people, what she felt as they come here, people come here as immigrants from different countries, that America just groups them together and then assumes that people are a certain way. If Ifma was assumed that she couldn't speak English, it was assumed that she would like hurt or eat the dog. It was just a lot of things that Ifmalu was faced with, and as readers, again, we were exposed to the stereotypes that she became exposed to as coming to America, and it definitely allowed us again to address those things. This is one of the saddest statements, but it's still true today. My mom told me that a bishop once said this about the Bible, as far as people not really reading it. But this statement was originally made about Black men, and it was saying that if you want to hide something from someone, put it in a book because they'll never read it. This is anonymous, and I'm not sure who actually wrote this. They were basically saying that Black men couldn't read, but also that they wouldn't read. In slavery days, we weren't allowed to read. But even so now, many people don't read, and that keeps them uneducated. And without knowledge, there's no power. So I'm coming to the end of my presentation, and I believe that literature equals knowledge and knowledge equals power. And I have these pictures here to try to demonstrate it. But this really hits home for me because I feel that my education is everything. My grandma once told me that people can take everything from you but your education. Thank you.